The Legend of Snow White, an animated classic, is a 1992 feature film. This is directed by Orlando Corradi with a voice cast including Candina Gubbins, Regina Reagan, and Dan Green. And it's okay. It's not too bad. In some ways, it's the classic story of Snow White. In others, it offers something a little bit different. And I would say if you're brand new to Snow White, don't make this your introduction. But if you're an existing Snow White fan, you've maybe read the story, you've seen adaptations, this could be a fun way to explore the story and the characters with some differences. The story itself, of course, is about Snow White, who lives with 7 dwarfs after escaping the evil queen. The story is recognisable for the most part, but there are some elements that were unexpected, elements that I didn't expect to see. And again, I give it credit for being creative, and I do think it offers something a little different to most adaptations, and that's quite fun to see as an existing fan of Snow White. But if this were your introduction to Snow White, I wouldn't love it. I wouldn't say it's the best example of the story. Again, in some ways it is. In some ways I think it has quite a lot to offer. So I'm kind of divided with how I feel with the adaptation itself. It's different. It's interesting enough. I'd be keen to know what you think of it. I'd be particularly keen to know what you think of it if this is your introduction to Snow White or the first adaptation that you've seen. I'd find that to be quite an interesting perspective. The characters are well written. Snow White in particular looks gorgeous. The animation of the character I do really like, and the evil queen looks suitably evil. Great voice acting with the English voices there, and I don't know how many dubs there are of this or if there's just the one. I can't find that much information about it, but if I can find any more before I upload this, I will certainly include all of that information in the description. We have some decent animation. The story works well. Had I never heard of Snow White, had I never seen it, yeah, I'd think it was maybe quite chaotic at times. There are some scenes that feel a little slow and they don't offer that much, or they're not portraying the right emotions compared with other adaptations. I don't want to give away too much just in case you haven't seen it or you're not overly familiar with the story, but there are some character interactions that I don't think were as dramatic or as intense as I would like them to be. So there are definitely things that I think could have been done better. But again, for existing Snow White fans, give it a go. It's different. Had this been my introduction to Snow White, I honestly don't think I ever would have watched any other Snow White. I imagine most people's introduction is the Disney animation, and that would always be my top recommendation. It is a fascinating film with a fascinating film history as well, if you're interested in the history of animation, or even just the history of Disney. But either way, if you're curious, check it out. The Legend of Snow White is certainly an interesting film.